checking to see what it is. That all seems to work. Oh, and of course bn.transform is not going to return me anything, so it sent it offline. I'm just going to do, while we test this, of course, I'm just going to do $sign in here for the selected item. So there it is now lined up to it. So I'm going to replace that with bn once we get into this code, and we can check it out. Or maybe I'll do it now and actually run it as the function. How about that? That might even be an easier way of dealing with this, to show you how it all works. So there's the control object that we added. So again, running this function, if I just evaluate this whole piece, transform in undefined, still same thing. Transform in undefined. I didn't have anything picked, I guess. Well, I'll get this right eventually. So let's actually select an item. There we go. Okay. So now we've got it running. So there's the control again. Now the next thing we want to be able to do is we need to be able to parent this up to a point helper that's aligned to it so that we have a 0 in it. We then need to move both of those out so that they're out a little bit from the mesh and stand out from it a bit. And we need to start connecting it all together. So the next step will be to create a point helper, and we'll call this PT for now. And probably we'll set a size on it right away as soon as we make it. And it needs to be quite small. Based on this one is 0.5, so let's make the size of this one maybe like a 0.2 for that control, small one. We'll see how that looks. Change it as we go if we need to. And again, let's set a wire color on this so that we have a specific color on these point helpers so that differentiate them from the others, let's say, so we can see it easier over the overall rig. And we'll make this one, I think we don't have any blue point helpers at this point, so wire color, and again RG, and we'll say B, I guess 200 or something. We'll see how that ends up looking. And then again, we want to set the point helpers transform, and the point helpers transform is going to be the same as the controls or this initial bone again. So we can set it a couple different ways. In dot transform equals con dot transform, and so that'll actually create a point helper, align it up to the control object, so it's sitting with the control object. And then let's actually parent the control to the point helper. So con dot parent equals PT. So it's actually parented right to it. And that's a pretty straightforward way of just connecting it all up. So with this selected, then I should be able to run our script again. And I've actually got, if I go up one with my page up, you'll see that I've got a point helper in there now that it's actually has the control object parented to it. So the next thing is to actually set a parent for the point helper. The point helper has to be parented up to the control that we have selected, the point helper we have selected, sorry. And again, exactly the same thing, but pt.parent equals bn, and that will parent it to it. And then what we want to do is we want to actually shove it out a little bit, push it out along the z-axis, and it's best to get access to the actual controller at that point. So pt.position.controller will return the actual controller for the point helper, the position controller. And then we want to get the third controller down, which would be the z-axis, and that'll get the third controller down. And then we want to set a value on it, so .value equals, and again, I think we can just shove it out. I'm going to take a wild guess, maybe say a value of 0.5, and that should work pretty good. So if we run that, transform in undefined again, I didn't have it selected, so there we go. Shoves it out and pushes it out 0.5, maybe a bit further. Let's try about a 0.7. We can go around and adjust them afterwards, obviously. And we'll pick our control again. And there it is. And you can see that now the control is parent to the point helper that's aligned to it, and that point helper is parented